Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on the Siley Stats YouTube channel, where today we're going to be taking a look at the very first state results to come in, as well as some very minor changes to my top 20. Also, just so you guys know, this list is, I'd say it's a little more final than it was in my last video, but I'm still not going to call anything in this quite yet. I'm still working on it a little bit, just some minor things, but I won't be talking about this quite yet. Now, let's get into the results. But before we do, we need to do our random team shout out. So, congratulations to Del Norte from California for getting 4th in Codebusters and 5th in Ecology at Triton Invitational. Congrats, Del Norte. Now, let's get into some results. So let's actually first go over the changes to this, my top 20, apart from this one, which we'll talk about when we talk about state results. So there are some very minor changes here. First, probably the most minor, I have moved Stevenson ahead of Novi for no other reason than I think Stevenson isn't nearly as... not like as bad, but not like better than I portrayed in my last video, just a little bit. I know Novi is pretty good this year, but I do think Stevenson will best them here at Solon. You can see, not the biggest gap, but still 20 points. That's still a pretty significant gap there. So yeah, I do think Stevenson will take it over Novi. So yeah, that's just a very minor change that I've made. Another very minor change is I moved Marquette down below Seven Lakes because at Northwestern here, I'll show you this invitational, Marquette and Madison West were so incredibly close with their super scores, or their not super scores, just their normal scores. So I did move them down a little bit. They still did beat Madison West very, very slightly, but they still beat them. So, yeah, I moved them down just a little bit because of that. And actually, before I put Lexington in here, I had Madison West and Marquette right next to each other. Yeah, Seven Lakes then, of course, moves up by proxy. And one more thing before we talk about state results, I do have a change to make here. So for Virginia, last year in Virginia, Langley was the state runner-up. They got the state's second seat to the national competition. This year, though, I'm calling CJ Woodson to get this second seat. Now, here you can see at Fairfax quite a while ago, but this was CJ Woodson's most recent appearance. They outperformed Langley by quite a bit. Even when you super score them, they still beat Langley. And if we look at some other tournaments here, again, they beat Langley here when you super score them by even more. So I think CJ Woodson's just had a little bit of a better season, again, beating Langley here, this time by a pretty large gap as well. Or that's Lindbrook. Sorry, I can't read. Don't worry about it. Yeah, overall, just CJ Woodson having a slightly better year than Langley. This can, of course, go either way. I'm not super familiar with how Virginia goes. Maybe Langley typically underperforms in the usual season and then does really well at states. But I'll call it like this. For now, I wouldn't be super surprised if I'm wrong. Now, some things that I was very surprised about can be found in the newest state results we have. So we have 3 currently. We have New Mexico, Massachusetts, and Minnesota. We'll do them in order from least to most interesting. So starting with New Mexico. Now, New Mexico, if you were paying attention, if you paused during my last video to look at all of my predictions for the states, I had Albuquerque Academy winning. And if I take a look at some New Mexico state results, you can kind of see why. Albuquerque, they were the state champion last year, not by that much, though. And then in the year before that, they were also the state champion, this time by way, way more. And I think the year before that, it was someone different. It was the new state champion now, La Cueva. Yep. Um, I am most definitely mispronouncing that. So if someone knows how to pronounce this school's name, please tell me. But yeah, so congratulations to not La yeah, I'm just gonna say La Cuva. La Cuva for becoming the New Mexico state champion. I did make a little note here. Yeah, they were the state champion in 2022. So nothing super surprising. I mean, it's a little bit surprising, Albuquerque Academy. They were the state champion last year. So, you'd most of the time you'd expect the state champion to win again, but not this time. This time it goes to La Cuva. Congratulations. Next, we are going to move on to Minnesota. So Minnesota is yet another um, uh, what's it called? Competition where the state champion has been dethroned. So, congratulations to Egan. Again, I am probably mispronouncing that. But yeah, congratulations to Egan for being the Minnesota state champion. And again, congratulations to Egan and Mayo for beating Mounds View, who was, of course, the state champion last year. If we take a little look-see at some Minnesota state results from previous years, you can see Mound View won last year. Egan was actually in fourth, so quite the improvement there. Mounds View again in 2023 and 2022 probably. Oh no, not Mounds View. So Mounds View not the longest running state champion in Minnesota, but still state champion for 2 years. They were having actually not a bad season at all. If we take a look at some of their results here, you can see here Mayo outperforms them. This honestly, I don't know. I want to say that this was their B team, but knowing how states for them went, maybe this was their A team. Maybe this was a sign of things to come, and this was their most recent performance as well. But before that, Medford not really against anyone competitive. Here, when you super score them, they do really well. They brought like 4 teams to this tournament. And then again, outperforming Mayo. So, I mean, just not a bad season here for Mounds View, and kind of unfortunate it had to end like this. But yeah, congratulations to Egan for being the Minnesota state champion. And now we will move on to the big one. So, yes, you are reading this right. Lexington beats Acton Boxborough at their state competition. You don't believe me? I'll show you the duos meme for it. And I mean, not by a super small margin either. Like, yeah, the margin could be bigger, but it's not like, a 5-point gap either. Like, this is really, really like just an incredibly strong performance from Lexington, and honestly, kind of a lackluster performance for Acton Boxborough too. They medaled in everything other than these 2 events, but I mean, hey, if you learn anything from this channel, it's don't bomb events. Easier said than done, I know, but they cost you tournaments, and here is yet another case of that happening. Every other teams, of course, being thoroughly beaten by these 2. But I mean, really, if Massachusetts had 2 seats to nationals, this is one of the states that, if I was in charge of giving seats to nationals, I would give Massachusetts 2, just because they have 2 really, really strong teams, and it really it's a shame that Acton Boxborough likely will not be attending nationals this year. But of course, congratulations to Lexington for beating them. Now, if we take a look at Lexington's record this season, it's been good. But I would say Acton Boxborough's was a little better. I mean, really the main sticking point here, as with so many other teams, is going to be, once I get to it, MIT. So MIT, they got 12th, which is still really good, right? I mean, MIT, the most competitive tournament in the country, getting 12th at MIT is really, really good. But I mean, if you want to be in the top 10, 12th at MIT is really not where you want to be. And I imagine Lexington, being from Massachusetts, having some pretty big shoes to fill here. Acton Boxborough consistently gets in the top 10. Last year, they got fifth place at Nationals. So I presume, anyway, Lexington would want to carry on that legacy from Massachusetts. But it's going to be kind of a struggle for them because, like I said, MIT, they didn't do. I mean, again, they still did really well. It pains me to say they didn't do that great, but when you're talking about such a high level of competition, really, I mean, it's not the best performance here. They actually did tie Jordan there and barely beat out Syosset. Jordan, of course, I have in 12th, and Syosset I have all the way down in 16th. I did give Lexington the benefit of the doubt, though, and I'll show you why. So, their more recent tournament performances have been a lot better than MIT. University of Massachusetts, they're really not competing against anyone super competitive there. Here at Brown, I noted this a while ago. I said it in one of my videos that Massachusetts could be really competitive this season, and yeah, I was right. Yeah, Acton and Lexington only separated by 1 point, and then of course their fantastic performance at States, beating Acton Boxborough, who of course I had ranked in fourth. So quite the move down for Lexington. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on them because their MIT ranking. But like I said, I think a lesson I learned from last year was that MIT really is not necessarily the kingmaker, but the major factor in determining where a lot of teams will place at the national tournament. And Lexington doing pretty good, but not quite as good as some other teams at MIT is really that's not MIT. Here we go. Is really not a great sign for them. Also, something else with Lexington here at Princeton, Centennial outperformed them, which Centennial, again, don't take anything in here too seriously. I'm pretty confident, though, about these, at least these top 5 or top 25 rankings. Centennial, I have just barely outside the top 20. Still a pretty decent team, but, not exactly top 10 competitiveness, and being outperformed by them here at Princeton is really not a great sign for Lexington. Lower Merion, of course, is a very competitive team, but even then, I still have them ranked down at 14th, so not a great performance here for Lexington. And then also here at Harvard, again, being beat by both of Acton Boxborough's likely unstacked teams, maybe not unstacked, but who knows. Of course, that matchup doesn't matter anymore since Acton Boxborough isn't going to nationals. But I'm kind of just rambling at this point. Yeah, so congratulations to Lexington, of course. Anything else I want? Oh, yeah, I'll give you guys some history here. So, yeah, so this is the first time since 2003 that Lexington has won the Massachusetts State Tournament. And likewise, it's the first time since 2003 that Lexington will be going to nationals. I think, actually. I might actually be wrong about that. I was looking at this earlier, and I'm kind of forgetting. You know what? I'll Google it now. Let's see here. Science Olympiad wiki. Is my face cam? There it is. All right, let's see if this works. I know the SciOly wiki has been very slow. I want to make sure I'm right about this, though. I was about to say that it's the first time since 2003 that Lexington will be going to nationals, but that I'm not entirely sure if that's true because I was looking at some of these results earlier, and I saw that one year one of the state champions for one of the states that I was looking at couldn't make it to nationals, so the second place team went instead. And I forget if that is, what is going on here? My face cam's like glitching around here. But I'm not sure if that was Massachusetts or not. Okay, well, I'll just be faceless for a little bit here as I continue. Anyway, so Acton Boxborough has gone to nationals all years since 2010 until now, that is. like I said, I knew this tournament would be really competitive, but I still thought that Acton Boxborough would. Oh, hey, I'm back. Look at that. And my face is glowing now. Oh, now it's not. No, it's still a little bit. All right, whatever. Um, yeah, I knew the tournament would be competitive, but I still thought Acton would beat Lexington by 5 or 10 points. But yeah, really good performance from Lexington, and probably slightly below average performance from Acton. Um, and yeah, so this is just a note about the significance of this gap. You would have to exclude at least one of the two events that Acton bombed for them to, beat Lexington. Now, let's see here. Let's see. Oh, it's over here. Okay, yeah, here. This was what I was thinking of. So, in a little bit of a history lesson for you guys. In 2017, Newton South High School won the Massachusetts State Tournament, but they could not go to the national competition that year for whatever reason. So Acton Boxborough represented them instead. I forgot if Acton Boxborough won that and they couldn't go that year, so someone else represented them. But I had that reversed. So yes, Acton has represented them at nationals every year since 2010 until now. Likely anyway. If Lexington can't make it to nationals, then Acton will represent them again. But let's hope Lexington can make it to nationals because I'd be very excited to see how they do. Now, I think that's finally everything I want to talk about. I know I rambled a little bit there, but you guys are probably used to that at this point. Yeah, that is everything I wanted to talk about. So, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you guys have a good day. See you next time.